Get your calls on Leicester. It's me and Darren Ambrose with you through till 7 on talkSPORT. Alex is a Leicester fan. How you doing, Al?
Afternoon, guys. Great show as always.
Thank you. It's okay, yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, so I think that Brendan Rodgers, he has to stay. I mean, I think any fan, any Leicester fan who thinks that he shouldn't be at the club anymore, I think it's just a bit disrespectful for what he's done for the club. I mean, an FA Cup, a Community Shield, 2 top 5 finishes, and you think about, Leicester breaking through that traditional big 6. I think he should stay. I think this summer transfer window should be his last chance.
They should have hit top 4 both times, though. Do you not agree with that?
I totally agree with that, but I think as well with what he's got, I mean, he doesn't have the power of Manchester United or Manchester City or Chelsea to go out and spend big. If you think about it, Yuri Tielemans, our star signing, he only cost us £36 million.
I totally agree with you, Alex, and I kind of have this little debate with other Leicester supporters when I speak to them. If you was to sell Yuri Tielemans now, what would you sell him for? It would be 60, 70 million. Same as Ndidi, same as Maddison. So you already have them players in your squad. You don't need to go out and pay money for these. They're already there.
So he should be doing better with those players,
I
is what you're
think
saying.
so, yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think you make a great point there. I think the problem is our midfield. If you think about our midfield 3, it's one of the best midfield 3s in terms of the balance. You've got the protection of Ndidi, box to box, and Tielemans, and then creativity of Maddison. I think it's at the back that we're really struggling. I think Daka was a great addition for our attack. But I think at the back it just needs sorting out.
You know what, Alex? You're right. And defensively, you speak to any Leicester fan, they'll tell you keep shipping goals. They're ridiculous goals as well. The amount of goals conceded, the amount of set-piece goals conceded is absolutely phenomenal. It's an extraordinary number of goals for a side that has finished top 5 last couple of seasons. But nothing seems to be getting done about it. Now, is that Brendan Rodgers saying, well, I can only work with what I've got because Johnny Evans is out injured, so I literally can't do anything? Could he coach them to be better defensively?
I'm not so sure. Defensive, you're kind of born with that defensive instinct. They have it to a certain extent, but we don't know what he does on the training ground. I've no doubt they do set plays constantly. I think if I was ever going to be a manager and that was my team, every day I'd be standing there positioning every player for set plays because you're conceding too many. Once they're over the white line, Brendan Rodgers can't do it for them. And they keep conceding. So I don't. There's certain players I don't think you can teach to defend properly. You have to have that desire to want to not concede, and I don't think they have it.
In defence of Brendan Rodgers, and I personally don't think that it's time for him to go at all. I think he's got enough in the bank at Leicester to say I deserve a bit more time in this job. But then I thought that about Ranieri at Leicester as well. But I look at the goals, say, yesterday, and I'm thinking, could Kasper Schmeichel do better? Certainly for the first one. You look at the Spurs game where they're 2-1 up in injury time and they actually lose the game. When it goes 2-2, what can Brendan Rodgers do about Yuri Tielemans literally giving the ball to Spurs from the kickoff? How can Brendan Rodgers rectify that? That's not about coaching. That's about a real top player not doing his job properly. And that's bad game management from a player. I mean, it's not like Brendan Rodgers has said to Yuri Tielemans, right, as soon as you get it, just whack it forward and give it to one of them. So I got a little bit of sympathy for Brendan Rodgers. Sometimes he's his own worst enemy because it's almost like he presents himself as a super manager, and here they are in the bottom half of the Premier League, having kind of blown a great chance 2 seasons running of finishing top 4. So he sets himself up for the fall. I understand that, but I do think he's earned more time. Sam's a Leicester fan. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, no, I disagree with Darren saying you can't get defenders, you can't teach defenders to do certain things. It's defending the corner. You position yourself, you jump, and you head it.
I don't think I don't disagree with you there. I just don't think he can teach these defenders. I think he could teach other defenders, but particularly Soyuncu and Amartey, they seem to not know how to defend, and I don't think he can teach these two. He's had long enough.
Yeah, maybe. And I also think that, well, 2 things. I think the agenda to remove Rodgers from his position is being driven by fans and no one else. I think a portion of our fans are a bit deluded. And I also think that Rodgers' success is being used as a stick to beat him with. We did overachieve. You have to remember that, we haven't got infrastructure yet to challenge that top 6 on a regular basis. And we put a good run of 3, 4, 5 results in where does that leave us? Cemented very much in, top 10, top 8 potentially, which is probably where we should be.
Yeah, I think the thing about the fans, Sam, is very interesting. As you're a fan yourself, you saying it's driven by the fans. And I can only go by the fans I speak to. And it's, of course, that's a very tiny fraction compared to the thousands who go to home games every other week. So let's bear that in mind, the context of it. But I talk to fans who say, well, it's fifth, now we want to push on. So that's the expectation there without really looking at the resources that Brendan has at his disposal. Is that realistic? By the same token, where they are in the table and the way they're conceding goals and losing games, Darren, I don't think that's acceptable from Brendan Rodgers either.
No, I totally agree with you. And I look at his record from when he was at Liverpool. He was there just over 3 years, 160 games managed. Celtic, he was there just under 3 years, 169. I think that gets to a point in Brendan Rodgers' career that he gets to around 3 years, gets a little bit stale, and he's finished 5-5, and then he's won the FA Cup, and to him it looks like he needs a fresh challenge as well. And some of the interviews he's been doing in terms of the Europa Conference, that he disrespected that a little bit, didn't know what that was. He questioned the supporters as well, and there's a few things that's been creeping into what I've seen Brendan Rodgers he wasn't like that a few years ago. So it seems from his record as a manager that he gets to around 3 years and thinks, I need a fresh challenge as well.
It's a good observation. I think with regard to the fans, I think some of them have lost sight of the fact that maybe 14, 15 years ago, Leicester City are in the third tier. They're losing at clubs like Peterborough, and they're struggling to get themselves back up. They've come a long way since then. And whatever happens with Brendan Rodgers, his legacy is intact. He has been the first manager to lead them to the FA Cup success that they've been wanting for years and years. They've come close before. He's actually gone and done it. So whatever happens, whether he stays, whether he goes, that will always be next to his name, and that's got to be a positive. But you might be right. It might just be it's time to move on for a fresh challenge. I can't help thinking, though, he's done some great things there, and it's not being acknowledged enough by some of the Leicester fans.